Ted Lasso has been nominated for an insane 20 Emmy Awards. And this man joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, co-creator, writer of this program, and also nominated for an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor on the program, Brendan Hunt. How are you, Brendan?
I'm all right, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing well. Congratulations on everything going on with this program.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's nuts.
Well, that's definitely one way to describe it. So it's been well established that this was based on something you guys did for NBC Sports as, I guess, a one-off. Walk me through how we go from that to 20 Emmy Awards and hopefully some trophies in the case for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It was 100% a one-off. You know, I got a call from Jason, who I've known for years from Chicago Improv days. And it's like, hey, NBC Sports wants me to do a soccer thing. And he and I both became soccer fans to different degrees at around the same time, living in Amsterdam. Neither one of us was into soccer, as kids in the Midwest.
Right.
But we moved to Europe and caught the bug. So he calls me and says, there's a soccer thing. And like, if we do it, we get to go to England for 3 whole days. Oh, 3 whole days. And then they got to fly us out to go see a Premier League game later when the season starts. I'm like, oh, great. This is the best gig ever. It will never get better than 3 days in London and 1 soccer game. But it did, because they really liked it. Apparently it did very well for them. And so they had us come back to another one the next year. And by that point, then we were really starting to like it. Like, this is just flat out fun to do, and Jason really clearly loves his character. At that point, it was me and Jason, and our buddy Joe Kelly was the other creator of the show. And
right.
And we just wanted to find a way to keep doing it. So like, we threw together, we met at Jason's place in Brooklyn for a week, and we threw together like an outline for a season. And at that point, we were looking at it like the original Office, basically. So like 2 6-episode seasons and a movie,
right?
Special,
right?
And we wrote a pilot, and like, okay, well, let's see what happens here. And then nothing happened. Nothing happened for a very long time until Bill Lawrence came along to join the creator crew.
Mm-hmm.
And once Bill Lawrence is involved, things start moving. And within, 4 months after that, we had a writer's room going. And 6 months after that, we were in London again for substantially longer than 3 days.
Which Premier League match did you see that time?
Oh, that time I'm an Arsenal fan.
Okay.
And I'm kind of the biggest soccer fan of the 3 of us who originally went, so they kind of let me tip the scales, and I convinced them that going to see Arsenal at Tottenham would be particularly good game to go see, and with the calendar we had available. And we sat in the Tottenham director's box, and like, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm also a good guest, so like, you wear a suit.
Yeah.
You act respectable.
Okay.
And like, I knew like if there's a score, if there's tension, I'm going to keep it together. And then Arsenal score on a breakaway, and I believe literally the first minute. And I don't know if this is going to be a video interview for your folks, but yes. My reaction was literally like,
you couldn't say anything. You're good too. You're too good.
I couldn't. And it was a great goal. And then the game finished 1-0. It was just 1 goal at the beginning. So for the neutrals, i.e. my friends who came with,
yes.
The worst game you could see because the crowd never really got into it. But
right.
I had the time of my life. And now that stadium has been torn down. So we saw, a wee piece of history before it went away.
I called an NFL game 2 years ago, pre-COVID, in the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I was there.
So you were there for that one. So the Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were there. There were a couple of them there.
Oh, right.
I was the one calling. The Buccaneers were there. And the reason why I bring it up is because I was told by the locals that Arsenal fans were very giddy over the fact that the Buccaneers were the home team in Tottenham because the Buccaneers and Arsenal share the same team colors. And thus Arsenal's team colors were all over Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which made Tottenham fans thoroughly sick to their stomachs. And they loved that. They absolutely loved that.
The game I had gone to in that same run, which was like a great historical sports day for me, because like there was an Arsenal game that day that I got to go to.
Right.
And then a Bears game. And I'm from Chicago. So I got to see an Arsenal game and a Bears game that were neither exhibition games in the same city on the same day. And the Bears lost that game, but at the new Tottenham Stadium, which is a great stadium, got to say.
Yes.
And, as you know, like these NFL London games get all the NFL fans from all around Europe.
Yes.
And they're all big soccer fans, and a lot of them are Germans. So they come to the stadium, and Harry Kane, hero of Tottenham Hotspur and huge NFL fan, like has aspirations of being a kicker someday, a place kicker.
Okay.
He comes out to give the honorary coin toss, and in his own stadium is booed lustily by 95% of the crowd. And the Bears lost that day, and that sucked. But Harry Kane, bless him, getting booed was a beautiful, beautiful thing. If
I'm not mistaken, the Bears didn't just lose; they lost in some gut-wrenching fashion as well, Brendan. If I'm
the
not
Raiders
mistaken.
Like came out hot and they got up by like 20.
Right.
Like it was a coming out party for Joseph, and that's his name, right? The running back they got. His initials are JJ.
Yes. Yeah. Jacobs. It was Jacobs.
Jacobs. Yeah.
Killed it. He crushed it.
He was amazing, and the Bears, fought valiantly-ish to try to come back, and they did not.
Brendan Hunt here on the Rich Eisen Show, the Emmy Award nominated actor and writer, man who plays Coach Beard on Ted Lasso here on the Rich Eisen Show. Where does the warmth of this show come from? Walk me through how you would create a show and you're like, okay, this guy and everyone around him has got to have the sensibility to warm and be, very sweethearted. Where did that come from that you would emphasize that? Because I think that's part of the reason why your show is such a smash hit, not just the comedy and the characters, but there's just a warmth that I think people are attracted to. Brendan.
Yeah, I think it comes, from, a lot from Kansas City, where Jason's from. It comes a little from Chicago, where I'm from, and also Central Illinois, like Normal, Bloomington,
yes.
Where I went to school, and a little bit from Marietta, Georgia, where Joe Kelly's from. Like we're all, Marietta, Georgia is not quite the Midwest as much as the other two, but right. Joe's got a real I don't know how to phrase this correctly, but a good Southern sensibility, Mm-hmm. And he lived in Chicago for a long time too. And there's it all adds up to a very Midwestern kind of vibe in the show. Like we weren't necessarily going out of our way to make someone Fred Rogers mm-hmm. we were drawing from our own experience, Jason's drawing from his dad. Jason's drawing from coaches he had. Joe also had coaches he liked. I was not so athletic. I didn't have any coaches per se, but the odd theater teacher and like my bosses at the auditorium where I was a stagehand for a while, like just sturdy Midwestern listeners. So we were just modeling people that we've known all our lives and putting them into this character. We weren't drawing from some crazy fantasy land of kindness. Like we were right. drawing from something that exists.
Well, because again, it's just so everybody's so vulnerable on the show. And then again, it's very funny and you put it all together and it's unlike anything that's on television right now. And the show that one of the shows you're nominated for writing called Make Rebecca Great Again, talking about the owner of the team. I'll be honest with you. I don't mean to, embarrass you or anything like that, but I turned to my wife when that episode was over. I said, that was the greatest half hour of television I think I've ever seen. It was beautiful. It was funny. It was sad. It was fun as well. Amazing. It really, really was. And there's no question. Congratulations. I mean, that's amazing. It truly is beautiful and funny. All of it together.
It is one of my favorite episodes, for without, no spoilers for those who haven't seen it yet, but also, hey, catch up, people.
Right.
But Nick Mohammed's locker room speech is absolutely one of my favorite moments of the season. Jason and Hannah do incredible stuff that episode, and the directing is really, really good, and the editing is really good, and that closing song that plays
right
for the whole, it's a, sometimes you just get the right part of a song, but I believe that's the entire song. It's Strange by Celeste, and it just brings the whole thing together and makes it more than the sum of its parts. And so anyway, I'm a fan of that episode too, so thank you.
And season 2 available every Friday on Apple Plus, where you can watch Ted Lasso. So there's no coaching inspiration for your character specifically? Anything, something? I mean,
coaching wise, no. I mean, acting coaches, like, one of my, a couple of my professors down at Illinois State. And, actually, I just realized this yesterday. His clearest analog is actually a guy I worked with at this student auditorium. So in the student center, called the Bone Student Center at Illinois State, which they may have renamed it. I hope not. We all loved working at the Boner. But had Braden Auditorium and then Redbird Arena, which became the new basketball arena for ISU. But there was a guy named Matt Hartley, and Matt Hartley was just to this day, in all my travels around the world, and through all the halls of comedy, the most deadpan person I've ever met in my entire life. And he was the assistant to, kind of a rotating cast of bosses. And he just stood in the back and he waited and said his piece. It was a tiny bomb every time, good bomb. And then off he went. The only real example of which I can remember it being like, like the first meeting, of the school year where you all get your radios, and John, the boss at that time for that particular meeting, like hands you your radio. He gives a whole speech about what it means to have a radio, and then and we're all Midwestern folk. Matt Hartley just sits in the back and just waits for a gap and says, "It's your nomenclature."
It sounds like a line from your show. I'll be honest with you. It does sound like something from Ted Lasso.
I had to look it up. Like, I thought I was fairly well reasoned, but no, my man from the prairie was out vocabularying me hard.
I love it. Fantastic. So, Brendan Hunt, a couple more minutes left here on the Rich Eisen Show with the Emmy Award nominated actor and writer and co-creator of Ted Lasso here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's your favorite line? Which one is your favorite, where you're like, okay, you wrote it and then it was executed and now you've seen it and you're like, that's a good line. Like, which one's your favorite? You got to go.
I have a lot of favorites, only some of which I was involved in the writing of.
Okay.
But one of which, the one that comes to mind is episode 9. Rebecca has something to say to Ted and she invites him to her office, but she doesn't quite have the courage to say what she wants to say yet. Mm-hmm. And he senses that. He's like, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Me, I'm brilliant. I'm top of the pops." This goes nuts with it. It's largely her performance, I'll give you. But her saying "top of the pops."
That's it, huh?
Tickles me.
Interesting.
Still.
I like that one. It surprised so many fans of the show that the actress who plays Rebecca is the same one who was the nun from Game of Thrones, who was saying shame to Queen Cersei. Like, people can't. That was really one of the. Had nothing to do with your show, but it was one of the biggest reveals of season 1 is that it was the same actress. When
I learned that, it made me rethink that character on Game of Thrones, and then her relationship to Lena Headey, whatever her name, Cersei. Oh, okay, so it's not like the nun is not some wall of a woman under there. Like, no, she too is an Amazon. Was she a sinning smoke show who had to be converted? Now she's doing what had been done to her. Oh, exactly. What a great show.
I know. If only Queen Cersei had made the nun biscuits and given it to her every day, could have been a whole different relationship. You know what I mean? The whole walk of shame. So, congratulations on everything to you, man. Really. I love the show. It has not lost a single step in season 2. And, it's funny how many people were bringing up Ted Lasso when the Super League was created for a split second and then it was gone in 2 days. And like, how will Ted Lasso survive? And what would Ted think about all this? And he'd be the one out there kind of leading the fans to just do the right thing. I was honestly thinking of your show in the real life soccer stuff, Brendan, for real.
And we were in the middle of shooting it when that came out as well. And
is that right? Were you thinking about what would happen? What would you have had to redo something? Were you thinking about that for a split second?
Wouldn't have yet, because we were in the championship at that time.
Okay.
But it was going to have a ripple effect on all the football for sure. But the striking thing was, like, we have a crew, a fantastic crew that is, there's a lot of football fans in there,
sure.
Man U and Spurs and Arsenal, and they're all over the map. And the hatred for the European Super League brought them together in such powerful unanimity.
Isn't that amazing? How that happened?
Oh man, they hated it so much and it died so fast. Like, let's get our 30 for 30 going on this. Let's get our oral histories out. We're gonna need this.
It wasn't even a 3 for 3, right? You couldn't even have done it. It was almost a 30-second or 30-second. Well, thanks for doing this, man. I'd love to do this more often. I'm a big fan of your work. I'd like to keep talking with you. And congrats, and I hope you win every last damn Emmy. That'll be great.
Well, thank you, Rich. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the third decade of my life in terms of the numbers in the front of them in which I've been able to experience you. So
wow. That's true. I've been at this. I appreciate you saying that, man. And let's keep doing this more often. Like I said, thanks for doing this. That's Brendan Hunt right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.